Well, welcome everyone, and welcome to the first podcast of its kind here at Online Trading Campus with me and our student Francois. Hi, Francois.
Hi, morning, Bernd. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming, and thank you. This is a premiere actually because it's the first podcast of its kind. So you are here today because you had a blasting month last month, right? You made $17,000, roughly, more or less. We're going to talk about this later. But let's start with you and a little bit about your background. Like, tell us briefly about yourself. When did you start trading? When did you join Online Trading Campus? Just give us a little bit of your trading history background.
Yeah, well, I guess really to start, I've been in Dubai for 10 years now. I'm an engineer by trade, project manager. But getting into trading, I guess I've seen trading, on movies and Netflix, things like that. And I was always interested in what it actually is. So I finally joined Online Trading Campus 3 years ago and started doing, the online, watching the videos, following your blueprint method, and learning really from zero to hero, basically, how to trade.
So you didn't have any prior experience before joining us?
No,
you were like a blank sheet, literally.
Zero.
That's rare nowadays.
Yeah. So. No, it was definitely a learning curve.
Sorry to interrupt you. Do you think this, because this is really interesting, because we have kind of, you can say, two kinds of people who join us, right? We have the ones that are blank sheets, but the most people who join us, they have already some trading experience, so to say. Do you think it helped you that you were like a blank sheet throughout your process, or do you think it would have been better to get some self-learning experience? What are your thoughts there?
I think for me personally, it was quite useful to have a blank sheet because I didn't have any bad habits. So immediately from the beginning, I knew, well, at least I was taught the right things to do. It doesn't mean I always did it.
Yes.
Of course, I made mistakes. But no, it was good to learn from a blank sheet, how to do it, how good way to do it properly. So.
Yes. And what were your initial reasons? Yes, you said you were interested in trading from the movies, from all the shows on TV, but what brought you into trading? Like, what were your reasons, personal reasons, if I may ask?
Yeah, so really the personal reason was, obviously you can say money.
But it's always a little bit of, right? There's always money involved because we all want to make money, but you have different reasons for sure as well, right?
Of course. Well, boiling down into that, really I was at a point in my life where my career wasn't going the way I wanted it to at the time. I wasn't advancing as well as I could in the career for various reasons, and I wanted more of a retirement plan long term as well. So I wanted to find other ways where I could actually make money and pay the bills.
So you would say your primary reason to join was like having a plan B or like a second income, or was it like, hey, I hate my job, quote unquote, and I want to maybe eventually do this full time? Or was this not yet on your radar and you just said, hey, I have a decent job, but I would like to have a second income? Right.
It was, I think that the last one there, having the second income. I never thought this would just be a sole income. I always wanted my salary, and then any extra on the side would be great. Honestly, as it's going on, it's making me think again. We'll maybe have another podcast next year.
To introduce you as a mentor maybe at Online Trading Campus.
Maybe.
No, but I like your train of thought, because I always say it's dangerous if people go into that business already with the mindset of saying, I want to do this full time, because it's way too much pressure, right? It's already very difficult job by itself, trading, and then having the mindset, that pressure, I need to do this full time, and then putting also a timeline behind that, it's usually not a good recipe because it's way too much pressure. Trading, right, you have to do with less pressure. You should not worry too much about the money, right? Yeah. Because throughout your 3 years, you must have realized that once you start thinking solely about the money, most probably it's going the other way, right?
That's absolutely right. As soon as I was worrying about money or trying to make, weekly or monthly deadlines, for example, paying bills, it didn't work. Whereas now I'm thinking of it not about the money, just about, is the trade good or not?
Exactly, yeah.
And this seems to be working better for me now.
Yes, so it has to be process-based, right?
Yeah.
That's what you would also agree, right? Great. So, also interesting about your journey at Online Trading Campus now. 3 years, you said, right? You joined us almost 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, just before COVID, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is quite interesting because you joined we have different solutions at Online Trading Campus, right? You joined without our mentoring solution, without our one-to-one coaching, right? It was basically the self-learning process. And then at some point of time, you upgraded to the one-to-one mentoring solution, right? So what was your reason behind that? What do you feel is the benefit of mentoring so far? Like, give me your thought.
Yeah, well, initially, I was obviously a little bit unsure of this choice. This is a second income. This is almost a whole new language for me to learn in terms of trading and all of the methods. I wanted to just try the online self-learning first to see if I would like it, to see if it was working, and then obviously I went through my ups and downs, and maybe I didn't trade for a couple of months, and then I pick it up again, and I guess along the way I picked up a few maybe bad habits that I learned were not the right thing to do. So actually late last year when things were really becoming more consistent, more positive, I then upgraded to the full mentoring class to really to iron out the last few kinks where I thought it was okay, but I could obviously just use getting that last bit across the line, and actually it's really helped. Honestly, for me, exponentially, getting the one-on-one, just to even look at, for example, some of my past trades, some that were really good, but why were they really good? Was it skill-based, or honestly, sometimes it was just luck and timing. This can be the case sometimes, and really having a mentor was really nice to talk through the process of what I do, which is probably different to how other people do it, and how to improve on that. And that's one of the things I like about trading, is just continual improvement. I like the mental challenge.
Yes, and it gets rewarded right away, right? This is something that's
and
also.
The good.
That's something really what I like about trading. The work you put in, it gets rewarded most likely right away, right? You see the reward, right, coming in form of money, right? So it's quite nice. So what would you say to someone who says, because you have a full-time job, right?
Yes.
And you have social obligations, family, friends, you're an athlete as well, right? You're doing like sports semi-professionally, right? So you have a lot of things outside your job as well. You're kind of a busy person. Plus you're trading on the side. So what would you say to somebody who says, I don't have time for trading? Like, how does it sound to you?
Honestly, for me, I would say you can make time for anything as long as you're organized. When you have 24 hours in the day, an office job is only 8 to 9 hours. You have the whole rest of the day to, I'm a triathlete, so I swim, run, and bike, and gym, and I trade, and I work, and I think I have friends as well. So
Yeah.
you can definitely do it.
Do you think it's beneficial with the way we trade that you can combine everything? Because what time frames do you trade? Like, do you trade daily charts, lower time frame charts, 65-minute charts? What are the time frames you're looking at when you take trades? Like, how did you make that? Now we can slowly get more into the technical trading side, right? How did you make that $17,000 with what kind of time frames, right? I guess with your lifestyle, you didn't scalp your way through the market on 5-minute, 1-minute charts, right? I think more like higher time frames, so you can combine your lifestyle with trading, right?
That's true, and I think how I did it was I was looking at daily and 2 40-minute charts. That's where my bread and butter. Sometimes as low as 60 minutes, but that's quite rare. More daily and 2 40-minute charts, 4-hour charts. And actually, what I would do is, I guess really to answer your question is, the weekend I put aside 3 hours, typically on a Sunday morning or afternoon when things are kind of quiet, getting ready for the week, doing meal prep on the background. But then I can sit down for 3 hours at a computer uninterrupted, and I look at what happened in the last week, the last month, and I forecast what's happening the next week, and I set up my trades. And I would say 80% of those trades, the 17,000, were set up on a Sunday, just doing my analysis, set the trades Monday morning when the market's open, and let it run.
So they were basically, I need to intervene here, so they were basically set and forget and get a live trades,
exactly.
Right? So your process basically, that's a very, I love that process. So during the weekend, you set yourself kind of office hours, right? This is where you did the analysis, the review of the previous week, then the analysis for the prep the week ahead, basically. You set your charts, your trades, your entries, stop loss targets, and then you let it play out throughout the week. So this is your weekend routine. How does your routine look like throughout the week when you're busy with going to the gym, job, friends? How does your routine look like there? If you set your trades during the weekend, how do you kind of manage your trade during the week? Do you do this during working hours? Do you have your laptop on the side? Like, tell us how you do that.
Well, I'm up at 5 every day for training. So the first thing I do is turn off my alarm and have a quick look at see how the trades are doing, and if I need to do any trade management, I do. I have 20-30 minutes. I can open up the laptop if I really need to, but most of it's from my phone because things are set up already. Go to the gym, go to work. Honestly, during the day, every few hours or so, have a coffee break, have a quick look. Again, usually just on my phone. Or on my computer, I use something like TradingView just to have a look in more detail if I need to, but I try not to because I like to separate trading from work. Yes.
But sometimes we have to, right?
Sometimes we have to, but we're really lucky in Dubai, being in the time zone that usually for me work finishes just as the market's open.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yes.
And then in the evening, if I need to, around 5:30 at the moment, when the US market opens, I'll have a look and monitor things. But usually I just let things go and just check in every few hours on my phone.
So that's what enough. Would you say on average with our trading style, with the trading style you developed, what's your average trading time, hours per day? Like how much time effectively you spend on your computer trading on average? Is it like more than an hour, less than an hour on average per day without the weekend?
Without the weekend, I'd say less than an hour.
Less than an hour.
Because it's just monitoring. I try not to stress too much, and I don't force any trades as well. If I'm lucky enough that something happens in my lap, like a nice gap up or something, or a nice reversal, then I'll enter it. But that would just be a 10-minute thing because I would have already identified it earlier, just triggered it, monitor it, but don't think too much about it. And actually, recently reducing my hours has actually helped me a little bit, give me a bit of a clearer head. And
less is more.
Yeah, quality and not quantity.
Exactly, less is more, and quality over quantity. That helps in trading, right? This is like improving then also your results 100%. I fully agree, right? So, and we have obviously at the campus also daily live trading sessions, right? In the morning, in the evening, I do the weekly prep, the week ahead session. So how did these weekly sessions, these daily sessions help you? How do you use them right now for yourself? We have these sessions conducted by various mentors, expert traders, right? It's not only me, it's other expert traders, verified prop traders who are doing these daily live trading sessions. So how do you use them, and how would you recommend to use them for new joiners and also for campus students?
Well, from the beginning and all across the last 3 years, I've been tuning into almost every session I could with different mentors, and the reason for that is, like people, every mentor has a different trading style, different trades.
With style, you mean not different strategy per se, it's just different explain style for the audience. What do you mean with style?
So style could be if you're looking at like larger daily or weekly time frames, or if you're boiling down into the 15-minute, 60-minute, 1-hour trades. Then are you looking more at Forex? Are you looking more at commodities? Are you looking at equity indices or stocks even? So it's nice to have a bit of experience from each of those, from someone who is experienced, to see what works for you, what works for your time frame.
Exactly.
If I had more time on my hands, I probably would have a look at lower time frames, 15
Yes.
minute, 30 minute, because it's honestly, trading is a little bit exciting sometimes.
Yeah.
But I hold myself back a bit and say, no, just slow down a bit, just look at the daily, look at the 240 minute. That works for me with my time frame and my lifestyle, and I don't have to worry about it because I have 4 hours before something changes drastically compared to 15 minutes to act now, and I must be on it all the time. So that for me is my experience. A little bit of all of the different mentors I've listened to over the last 3 years,
Yeah.
and I've kind of developed now my own style that I like.
Within the framework of strategy, basically, right? And this is what I recommend to every one of our students as well, usually, right? We have that framework of rules, right, where everyone has to adhere to. But within that framework, as you said, different mentors, they have different styles in terms of some mentors, they like the lower time frames, some mentors, they like the higher time frames, right? Some of them have more aggressive, more conservative risk management, trade management style. This is what is meant with style, right? And within that framework, you have to find yourself as a trader. You cannot become me, right? You cannot trade 100% exactly like me because you're not me, right? We are different people, right? Different individuals, different characteristics. And trading is something also very personal, right? So it kind of fits your character at some, right? It's like, trading becomes, or in other words, basically, you as a person, the character you develop, you will find yourself as a trader, right? You get to know yourself in a different way as a trader, right? The way you haven't known yourself before, because now all of a sudden you're handling money on a daily basis, right? And you have money at risk on a daily basis, right? It makes something with you, right? And you have to kind of develop that kind of characteristics, right? And this is something, I think this is, you have to find out for yourself, right? What kind of person you are in the financial market. Yeah. So now let's go back to your last month a little bit and let's talk about the trades that you took. So you made $17,000 last month. So yeah. What kind of markets were you trading? Was it mainly, or what? Let's start with the asset class. Was it mainly Forex? Was it equity indices, precious metals?
So it was in fact, it was all equity indices and Forex.
Equity indices and Forex.
Yeah.
And what time frame you said, like 240 to like daily?
Exactly, yeah, 240 to daily. There was a few, but 60 minutes, but no, usually 240 minutes, something like that.
And your win-loss ratio in that?
Was 75%.
Which is like an outlier, right? It's just like extremely, extremely good,
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
And your risk to reward ratio in that month?
My risk to reward was 21 to 1.
Like you made 21 hours, that's what you want to say, right?
Yeah.
21 hours, right? Which is also extremely, extremely good, right? And we need these months, right?
Yeah.
These months, because we cannot make money every single month and we cannot make money every single week as a trader, right? So it's important to understand that there are these outlier months, these very positive months, and they need to help us, right? To cover for the months that are not so well or that are mediocre, right? We need these months, and we have these months as well. So congratulations for that very positive month. And obviously, we use our proprietary indicators very heavily, right, in the live trading sessions, and I use them myself, obviously, and you use them as well, right? These proprietary indicators. So we have the valuation tool, we have the seasonal algo forecasting tool, we have the smart money index with the CUT index, right? So which is your, usually the first question I ask, which is your favorite tool? And how do you use it, and how do you incorporate these tools, if you get now a little bit technical, into your trading?
So my favorite tool at the moment is the seasonality indicator. and obviously that gives a bit of a historical view of the last 5 or 10 or 15 years of the particular trade you're looking at, and that combined with the supply and demand entry points that I use really gives me a good idea of where it's starting and where it could go, and yeah, that for me in the last month has worked very well.
So do you also follow kind of this two-step process that you would say you use the tools, or let's say let's talk about the seasonality tool, right? The seasonality forecasting tool. It's not just a normal seasonality tool, right? It's like it's basically AI that anticipates the future, right? It shows you what's happening in the next few days, in the next few weeks. So do you use this as a setup tool, or you use it as a timing tool per se? And do you then time the market with supply and demand? How is that process? If you kind of guide us through your process, do you first look at the tool and then you see, okay, we are at a seasonal low and we anticipate this being the low and now we're going to go higher, and then you time the market with supply and demand? Or how does that?
Yeah, exactly that. So I look at the seasonality tool and see, are there any good longs or good shorts coming up, and then I would do that together with the supply and demand for a good entry point. So yes, it's a timing tool, and the actual setup tool for me is my candlestick analysis, looking at the where do I want to enter.
This works for you in all the markets, like Forex in particular? You use that for Forex? Use that for Forex?
This month I've used it for Forex a little bit, yes. At the major pairs, US dollar and things, nice. Euro, Mexican peso. That was a good one. That was actually really
very exotic. Yeah. So you made some money. I heard that you made some money on the Mexican peso, right?
Yes,
with that seasonal forecasting tool, right? It's I can't remember the last time I traded that, but yeah, it's great. So amazing. And what about the valuation? And how do you incorporate the valuation?
So the valuation, I haven't used too much at the moment, but I've started to use a little bit more in things like stocks and equity indices to see, when is a good buy point? Is it undervalued or is it overvalued? Can I short? That again, I use as a timing tool. But always for me, I go back to supply and demand. That's my, my mechanical thing that I do for trading.
Your market timing tool, basically,
yes.
Right? So supply and demand remains for your tool for timing the market, to place your entry, to place your stop loss, and then to place your targets, right? And as a setup, to find the setups, you use then the seasonal forecasting tool, valuation, and the smart money / COT index, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. Perfect. So if we go back to trading education in general, now you've been trading for 3 years now almost, right? 2.5, 3 years with some breaks in between, I assume, right? Do you think that education in general, could you have done what you achieved now by yourself? Or do you think is professional education important for like becoming a trader?
I think like anything, having professional education is the only way to really excel at what you want to do. There's no way I could have done this by myself. If I did, it would be a complete fluke. And I promise you that next month will be negative. But no, for sure, the campus really helped. It continues to help on a daily basis, whether it's watching a mentor or having a look at some trade ideas. It's really helping. And the thing that you really need in trading is some experience. And having the mentors to give you the experience is really priceless, honestly.
Yes. I mean, yes, of course, obviously I agree with you, right? Because like in any other profession, right, you need some guidance and you need some professional guidance, and without guidance, you're going to be lost in space, right? And you're not going to excel, as you said, right, in that profession. And learning a profession without any professional training is almost impossible, right? And I mean, Yes, this is how I learned as well myself. So, of course, I agree with you. What are your trading goals in general for now, the next few months, the next few years? You already teased that you might want to venture into full time at some point of time, right? Knock on wood. but what are your goals? Do you have goals? Like, would you say it's important to set trading goals, like fixed trading goals? Like, how would you?
So I think the first thing I learned with trading is not to fix any specific targets in terms of a monthly goal or a weekly goal, because things change month to month.
Yes. Especially not monetary goals, right?
Yes. Yeah. But over time, I think having like a progressive leveling up goal of, for example, equaling my salary to then, outdoing my salary to then maybe replacing it altogether, perhaps in a few years. And I think $1 million is a nice goal to have in mind.
Talking about goals, you are also doing a prop trading challenge right now, right? If you can talk about this, if you want to, I think we can also say the firm where you're doing the challenge, FTMO, right now, I think.
Correct, yes.
Right?
Yep.
So how is it going, and how is the campus helping you with the with accomplishing your prop trading goals, right? Because you wanna, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right, to get funded at some point of time, right? Because getting funded 200K, 400K, or even more, it's like a no-brainer for everyone, right? So how is the campus helping you there, and how is it going?
It's going okay. I mean, I started last week. Yes, obviously doing the FTMO challenge, and that is actually a different style of trading to what I did before, say maybe a year ago. So that's why in the last few months I've been kind of practicing with my own account, doing shorter trades instead of weekly or monthly trades, doing daily 240-minute trades in and out in a few days kind of thing. Then you have a quick response to are you doing well, are you not doing well, do I need to change my method? So that style of trading for FTMO, where you have to reach a certain amount in a fixed 30-day limit, puts a little bit of pressure, but should have good rewards if I can pull it off.
So for the people who are watching that podcast and are not fully aware what these kind of prop trading firms are, just a quick explanation, right? They fund you if you can prove that you're consistent. And to prove that you're consistent, you have to pass an evaluation phase, right? And there's usually a two-step evaluation phase. And the first step is a challenge. And in that challenge, you have a 30-day time period, right, where you have to achieve 10% ROI, right, with of course, drawdown limits, max drawdown limit and a daily drawdown limits, right? So, as you said, well, you have to alter your style a little bit by going, because you have only 30 days to achieve 10%, so you have to go a little bit lower time frames, but you don't go crazy, right? You don't go scalping, you don't go 5 minutes, 1 minute, right? You go to, still you're at 240-minute charts and daily charts, if I...
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And you think that's then achievable, right?
Yeah, she was working okay for me, so yes.
Yes, and I just wanted to get the confirmation, because this is how I accomplished all my challenges and verifications as well, right? So I didn't go crazy high frequency. The lowest time frames I also went for myself is 60-minute, right? But most of the trades, 240-minute daily time frames, the execution time frame. So you don't have to go low, because 30 days is still enough. It's still a lot of time. So how do you take, what's the percentage risk you take? I mean, we can go technical there a little bit. What's your percentage risk you do? Is it 1% risk, 2% risk on these trades, on these challenge trades? How do you manage that in terms of trade management, risk management?
So I do 1% risk, and maybe 3 or 4 trades a week, with the goal of finishing maybe a little bit early, and accounting for obviously having a few losses as well. That's in the ideal world. But yeah, I stick to 1%.
1%? If I can make a recommendation here in the podcast, well, I felt 1% to accomplish a challenge with 1% risk, that's challenging. That's really challenging, because this means you have to have 10 winners, right? And no losers, right? This is difficult, right? So when I did all the challenges and verifications, I always used 2% risk. So I have to have only 5 winners, right? So for me, it sounded more logical, more achievable than having 10 Rs in 1 month, right? 10 1-to-1 trades with 1% risk, and then having no losers, because we cannot have just a winning streak of 10 trades, right? You have losers in between as well.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe look after you. Maybe if you kind of, if you pass your first challenge, then amazing, right? But if you fail it, then maybe you kind of reevaluate the trade management, risk management, because I would go for 2%.
Okay.
Or when you say 1%, let's assume you trade equity indices, right? Would you then also kind of take correlated trades? Like if you say, if you stick to Forex, would you go euro long and dollar short at the same time with 1%? Or would you disregard that? Or would you say also, hey, I do the Dow Jones and the Nasdaq long at the same time with 1%? Something you would do, like taking then correlated trades as well? Or what's your point of view here?
Specifically for me, I have been taking correlated trades. If I do equity indices, I may even do 2, for example, the Dow Jones and the Nasdaq.
And maybe a stock.
Both, and both at 1%. And as you said, the Forex, I could trade the euro up and the dollar down as well. Yeah.
Okay, yes. Then it makes sense, because obviously if you take highly correlated trades, right, you have to lower the percentage risk, because if you take 2% on let's assume Nasdaq long and an Apple long, which are highly correlated markets, and if you're wrong and you take 2% on each, then you have 4% risk exposure, and both go down, and you're down and you get stopped out, you're all of a sudden down 4%, right? And you have to first make up for that 4% again, and this takes obviously more time. So in this case, I would also then lower my risk to 1% or 1.5% risk if I take highly correlated trades, and I can recommend to everyone who is doing a challenge or like a verification to take highly correlated trades, right, to get to that 10% of monthly return, but then of course lower the risk from 2% to 1.5 or 1%, as you said. So yes, all the best for these challenges and verifications. So what is your goal? Do you want to get funded max allocation, or you want to get funded, like what kind of, if I may ask, what kind of a challenge are you doing right now?
We've gone for the max allocation, which is 200,000, and
400, right? You can do 200
sure.
Ks with FTMO, right?
Sure.
But you're doing right now a 200K.
200, yes.
Yes. So your goal is to pass that 200K challenge verification, get funded, and then doing another one. To get 400K? That's the ultimate goal? Like,
ultimately, yes. It depends how stressful the first month is.
Yeah.
I may give it a month to rest, but no. I think long term, yes, I would like that. Again, to supplement even my own trading account. So I have a trading account and then a funded account running alongside that to have multiple streams of hopefully revenue and not loss.
That's great. What would you say to people who are still hesitant, who have never traded before, who are now watching this podcast, who are thinking about going into trading? Would you recommend to get into trading? What is your recommendation in general for people who want to get into trading? How should they approach that topic? What's your recommendation after 3 years now of being with us in general, trading? You experience the ups and downs, obviously, like everyone, right? What's your yeah, what's your recommendation to somebody when somebody would approach you and say, hey, shall I start trading?
I think the important thing is to first speak to a few people who are experienced, who have done it before. And then second is more of a personal thing, is to not set too high expectations of yourself. Everybody's different. Maybe not everyone is for trading, but if you are interested, try it and don't risk too much. You can just do small trades and see if it works for you.
What are, because you said not everyone is for trading, what are the characteristics you have to have for trading? What are like some traits that you have to bring into the game to become like a professional trader?
Again, speaking for me personally, obviously I'm an engineer, so I'm good with numbers and graphs. Very organized. That's how I'm able to fit trading into my lifestyle, which already busy lifestyle. And I also like a challenge. And even if I'm beat down a few times with some really nasty trades, I'll still come back the next week and get it back.
Great. Is there anything else you want to share with the audience, or any questions?
A question for you, Bernd, actually.
Okay.
If the shoe was on the other foot, if you were starting out today, what would be the one thing you wished someone told you from day one that you learned?
Well, I could elaborate on that for quite some time, but I think when I started off trading with my education, I started trading more than 10 years ago. I'm now a full-time trader more than 10 years ago. So the entire environment was a little bit different as opposed to today, right? Today everything is online. There's so much trading content. You get like, you just go on YouTube, you just go on Google, and you find and you type in trading, and you find so much about trading. It's hard to find the needle in the haystack, right? The information is just intense, right? Back in the old days, so to say, right? There was not so much trading information, so it helped me. I think to kind of at this point of time to find the needle in the haystack, and to kind of start also from the scratch. I started also as a blank sheet, which helped me also a lot, that I didn't develop too many bad habits in the very beginning. Throughout, my career, especially in the beginning, everyone develops some bad habits, moving stop losses and getting into revenge trades, everything, it's funny because we haven't still found a name for that trading podcast. Maybe we can call it Trading Real Talk, or, Real People, Real Money, whatever it is, right? But I don't want to sugarcoat anything, and we all gonna make mistakes, and we all made mistakes when it comes to trading, right? And we all did take stupid trades at some point of time as well. What I want to say is that I think what is really important is that consistency. Not only consistency in terms of taking trades with the same set of rules. Yes, this is one part of the consistency, but consistency in terms of you have to continuously improving, right? You have to continuously practicing. You have to do like the chart watching, in the sense of you have to analyze your charts. You have to back test. You have to review your trades. All these things, right, are kind of things that I kind of maybe somebody in the very beginning would have been great if somebody in the beginning would have taken me to the side and said, hey, you have to do all these things as well on top of just learning a strategy. Yes, we have to all learn a strategy, right? But then the other side of trading is like the mental side, where you have to kind of really, hey, it's a profession. It takes some time to kind of be successful in that profession. people go to school, to university, become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. Like how long did you study to become an engineer, right? But when it comes to trading, all of a sudden, everyone wants to make money within like they take a weekly course, right, or monthly course, and they think now they can start making money. Which is just ludicrous, right? Which is like ridiculous, right? So I was definitely in the very beginning also, I put too much pressure on myself, and I also thought maybe this can go a little bit quicker, until I realized, hey, you are kind of getting into a business and a profession that you have to learn and you have to develop from the scratch, and it will take time. Like any profession, it will take time. And if you give yourself that time and don't put too much pressure on yourself and don't focus too much on the money, because in the very beginning I was also kind of money focused, right? I was also giving myself even daily targets, weekly targets, monthly targets, like monetary targets, which is completely nonsense, right? Because people are starting to write trade plans that are like pages long with like, hey, in first month I have to make $2,000, the second month I have to make $3,000, and it's just these numbers, just follow the process, start following the process, the money will come eventually. Right? So if you follow the process, if you learn your skill, if you improve your skill, if you work on your skill, the money will come eventually. And these are things that I think having a mentor right from the beginning and telling you these things is really crucial, right? I mean, this is something that I learned in the beginning the hard way as well, that I said, yes, I need to get back to more like process-oriented versus money-oriented, focus on the skill first, improve my skill, and the money will come eventually, right? If I continuously improving my skill. So, yes. I think this is where a mentor helps, right?
Great. That's how I've even aligned myself in the last 6 months of forgetting the get rich quick and just look at the process, get my R's, my reward to risk ratio up, and consistency, and just dedicated time to trading, allowing trading into my life, my lifestyle, my daily routine, and having a mentor was really key to that.
Yeah, I have that right. All right, so we talked about your trading goals. So obviously everyone wants to make money. So your goal when it comes to money is $1 million, right? It's a nice number. But is there anything else you would say besides money? Because we all want to make money, right? That you say, hey, for your personal development, what are your goals with trading?
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, that is just a number. I mean, in reality, I think the thing I was really looking for with trading is having financial independence, having control of my own salary, my own future. I mean, I'm a hard worker, so I like to be rewarded. And as you said earlier, with trading, you get rewarded basically instantly, whether it's good or bad. So, yeah, that's my goal in trading, to be able to level myself up and be independent.
And eventually become full-time funded prop trader and trading your own funds as well, right? That's the ideal
Sure, why not?
notion, right?
Why not? If I'm being kind of successful now, then let's see where this goes. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Francois, for being here and for doing that first podcast with us. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching our first podcast. It was a pleasure. And yes, we still didn't really find a name for the podcast. I would like to do something real talk, trading real talk, real money, real people. But please leave a comment below and propose a name for the podcast. And the best proposal, I would say, gets a free mentoring session from one of our mentors. And so yes, please comment below one of the name proposals for the podcast. And if we have a nice name, and if we choose one from the comment section, then we offer a free mentoring session. So thank you for watching, and talk to you guys soon.